triumph in the trap.
This is for the dollar.
Do you believe in miracles?
Ay, I play chess, but only in 4D. I'm by myself, but they think I'm 4D. When they see me online, they think they know me. Go ahead, like and subscribe, you gotta show me. I applied pressure and they tried to reject it. Clearly ain't see I was a diamond, so they didn't accept it. Told me I was a failure, so I said F it. Might even start my own school and teach them a lesson. Yeah, I'ma call it South Harmon. Fly down south and get the South poppin'. One day I'ma give you a walkthrough and introduce you to this warp tool. I know you lost, that's just dynasty talk. Cause you can't start no franchise without no dynasty chart. I took a break from the game, they throw my dynasty stop. Till I came back like Wembanyama, I feel like Coach Pop. I can't say that I'm the GOAT, cause you ain't gonna agree. But if I own my own farm, I can make the GOAT. Me, the ladies love the beard and they used to love the goatee. That's when I was a lamb, burning music on CDs. I wasn't born in 88, December 87, that was 16 days away. Might fly to Dallas, why not? I just got paid today. When I land this dirt statue, I came to fade away. Check the timeline for the stories and the play-by-play. My life a Patreon link, you gotta pay to play. I work 16 hours, boy, that's an 8 and 8. X Factor like Dez Bryant, my boy 88. Why dream light when you living like a heavyweight? This ain't a 1 week thing, we grind like every day. They know my destination, Devi, like I hang with Ray. If they ain't know my name, I bet they know my name today. Treat this mic like an ATM, let's make a trade today. Drop this on Fizzle Friday, cause that's my favorite day. And I'm gonna do it my way, cause that's my favorite way. They tried to put me on the shelf like I'm layaway. Told me it ain't no way, so I made a way. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. I'm glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. I'm glad you here today. Hit that Patreon link if you here to stay, Treat this mic like an ATM, let's make a trade today.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back into the Dynasty Trade Show, or as we're now dubbing it, Fight Club. Adam, what's up, buddy? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, man. I'm ready to get back to it, Mike. What do you think? Another episode of disagreements, gloves off, a little hate, a little love, all in one?
That was a good time, but we were also both cranky. It was late. The alcohol was flowing.
It was a good time. It was a good time. I actually thought, though, what was nice was it was a breath of fresh air to have, not just the same agreements all the time. Like, It's okay to be different on things. It's just it all happened at once. It just happened to be.
Even if I think yours are insane.
Yeah, even if Mike is now a Gabe Davis guy or whatever the case may be. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to relay the messages as they're coming. But speaking of which, Mike, you know what we do, especially if it's going to be Dub Fight Club. We start off with one of Mike's, man. I'm looking for torture. I haven't seen it. I just know it's yours. But if you do want your deals featured on this show, if you want to be a part of Fight Club, patreon.com/South Harmon, $5 a month will get you an opportunity to get on the trade show. Now that we're up to that point, we're going to try really hard to get everyone a chance. It's not going to happen weekly, but this gives us a chance to get more of the deals featured on the show. And also make sure you're checking out the Warp Tool, southharmonff.com. If you don't want to do any of that, go down, just hit the like, subscribe, comment away, let us know. This one wasn't Fight Club enough. But, Mike, without further ado, let's get into your trade. All right, Mike, so let's see what you did.
All right.
Let's take a peek. All right, Brandon Aiyuk. Whoa. You're getting Brandon Aiyuk for Evan Ingram and DJ Chark. I don't even care about the settings, honestly, here, I don't think. But in case you want to know, and it's lineup, my goodness. That's just, there's no way. There's just no way. Like, if you're losing Ingram, given what we know about, A-Warp, if that's the piece you're going to lose, to get a guy like Aiyuk, I know in a lineup start 11, he's not the sexiest of guys, but especially when you're starting up to 11, it's not the shallow 9 or 10. Aiyuk's my wide receiver. I don't even know what he would be here for you, but if he's any of my top 5 receivers, I'm pretty good with the deal.
Might be wide receiver 3, 4 tops. Like, I really like Aiyuk, so it's not crazy to think that he's going to rank up there just a little bit. But
right.
This is one of those, Adam. We're going to definitely call this the 4D move, right? Here's some things, confluence of things.
Okay.
The guy didn't have really shit for tight ends, right? Evan Ingram, tight end 5 last year, depending on where you look. Even in Warp, I think he was tight end 5. It's a 0.75 tight end premium, which people usually like, oh, tight ends
it's
really
just
matter.
enough. It's just enough to start mattering, right?
It's a lineup league. You know my feelings on AWARP. And he's also the proud owner of one Trevor Lawrence. So maybe a little bit of stacking went into it. But all that went into where I'm going, let's see if there's like a receiver in the Brandon Aiyuk range I can buy for depth. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Where would you rank him, Brandon Aiyuk, on my team? Jalen Waddle, I think I just kind of put as number 1 pretty easy. I think that's where I'm at. DK, number 2.
Yeah, I think DK probably a little bit ahead of Aiyuk, but like honestly, for me, I don't think it's all that different. I definitely lean DK though.
Right, and then Aiyuk and Terry McLaurin, right? Whoever
I'd say he's your receiver 3, dynasty value especially. Like for the season, Terry and Aiyuk might finish similarly, but dynasty value, I'll take Aiyuk. So yeah, receiver 3, receiver 4. Right?
Terry down to wide receiver 4, pushes George Pickens down to wide receiver 5, and then like 6 is, those guys that we like that still have dynasty value, which I'd love to up tier, but we'll see if that has like Rashad Bateman, like those type of wide receivers. So
I love it, man, because you can start. I imagine in this league, can you start 5 receivers?
I could actually start 6 if I wanted to.
Now, so there you go, right? All the more reason. Just think about that. Lineup start 11, you can have 6 receivers on this.
Right.
Aiyuk is huge. Whether he's your receiver 3, 4, 5, like that's all very startable, even when there's not bye weeks. So then you start getting into bye weeks and the depth that can matter as the season and attrition happen. That's where this is easy Aiyuk. I hate to say this, may not be Fight Club this episode, but this one's easy. There's not really much of a debate for me here. I get it, like chasing a tight end in a specific format where it's 0.75, but to me, not Ingram. I like him. But acknowledge from me anyway, like, I don't know that he has high, like, difference-making upside, considering also the risk of him is, like, if he were to get hurt or kind of fall off a cliff, there's no value retention either. So I'm totally pivoting off of an asset like this. He's not in the range of, let's say, like an Andrews, or even if you wanted to be speculative on Hawk, right? Like, to me, that's not Ingram at all.
Yeah, I think the problem I am too with A-Warp, like I got so many tight ends on this team in a 0.75, and A-Warp's telling me to get rid of these dudes. So I'm literally just trying to shop them around and see what I can get in return. And I've shopped David Njoku around, and for whatever reason people don't like him. So shopping Evan Ingram was the next step. We'll shop him around and send some offers out and see what gets accepted. And this just happened to get accepted. I'm not complaining in the slightest. Like,
as a matter of fact, because I want to get back to Fight Club. I mean, there's just, I'm not. We're good. This can get off my screen. It's yours. All right.
Next.
I like what Blitz did here. Gave a little Ultraflex light beam with a little different font to beam it up a little more. 12-team Superflex PPR, 0.5 tight end premium, best ball start 12. Okay, so Hawaii is getting DeAndre Hopkins and Lockett for a first and best ball start 12. Mike, thoughts?
This is easy in best ball. I'll take the 2. As much as, we want to hold on to our first, the whole thing, because he is trading his own away here, for that flexibility. In a best ball league, though, if you can give me the 2-for-1, 2 pretty good assets or decent assets for my first, I'll push it in. And we're closer to the season, too, where the risk is a little bit less. Not saying these guys can't get hurt in the first couple weeks, but like you've made it through the offseason where we see all these, like, damn it, I spent this much on this guy, and he's not even going to play a single game this year. I can't take this. So he's a little bit less risky to push it in now when he is, and he's getting 2 assets in a best ball. If I'm any type of a contender, I do this. If I'm a rebuilder, there's, obviously no fucking chance in hell I'm pushing my first in on a rebuilder. But if I'm a contender and I feel pretty good about the squad, in best ball, definitely give me these 2 wide receivers.
Yeah, I think I'll say this. I agree with your sentiment on the caveats of you better be built correctly. You better have like the right roster construction to where, all right, now just getting those 2 pieces, and in addition, maybe there's like people I think, have already discounted Tyler Lockett before JSN went there, right? So now it's like, but Tyler Lockett gave you actually pretty high-end upside last year. So, like, could that come down this season? Sure, of course. But in best ball, are you telling me that Tyler Lockett's going to for sure have a full season now without what we've seen actually spike weeks or top 10, top 12 receiver weeks in Dynasty, right? Like,
and when you say spike weeks and Tyler Lockett's spike weeks different than just about anybody other.
Because when he spikes, we're talking that like week winner. Like I know I wanted to highlight that point because I think people are discounting Tyler Lockett before JSN got there. Now they're really discounting him. And I get it from the Dynasty lens, but it's way too far. And for the seasonal lens, it's ridiculous. Like, there's absolutely upside still in this offense, even with Geno at the helm. Shout out to Koopa.
In a lineup league, let me ask you, like, is this a no, though, for you?
Definitely a no.
Okay. Yep, that's where I'm at, too.
Just because there's not enough upside on who I'm going to press the button on weekly. Now, I'll say again, the caveat, though, in best ball where this is, I agree with a lot of the points you're saying, but where I would make sure to caution everyone else listening, if you're going to do something like this in best ball, the only way I'm doing that is, one, like, my team, because I think one of the things that can happen here, one, like, if you know your league and you can say to yourself, like, this is probably, given my team and given my view on my pick, going to be the best I'm going to be able to acquire for my first, okay, so check that box, right? Is this a league where you think to yourself, maybe down the road later I can buy something from a team that might have been contending that's not now? Like, maybe there's a window to buy more. That's where I maybe would hold. Outside of that, the only thing would be basically, are you built right? You know, like, is there a chance now you make this move, it looks good now, but let's say one of these receivers disappoints, your team's not built right, you have a couple injuries, all of a sudden this is a pick that has maybe not Marvin Harrison, but in the range, maybe it actually is, or maybe it's just a 104, 105, and you're not winning. That's one of those where I agree with the points. If you're built correctly, the best ball principles, I can get rid of my first for this if this is going to really help my depth and solidify me in that true contender range and just give me a couple more outs from injuries. What I don't want to do, though, is send my first if I'm not built correctly in best ball. Like, even if these two guys come over and you're still not like a very good team, don't want to do it. And then the only thing I would possibly say is, given the time of year, this could end up being a great deal. But if you think down the road, maybe like I could probably get more out of my first. Those are my only caveats. Outside of that, everything in principle you said, I agree on. I just wanted to make those points clear to people that might be thinking of doing this. Those are the things you got to think about before you actually press the button on sending your first away, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're not going to do this if you got a best ball team and this is on Sleeper, obviously, and Sleeper has like an Odell Beckham in one of your flexes, right?
Yeah, right.
In the start 12, like if that's it, and you're like, oh, this is more depth to make my team better. Nah, you didn't really have depth to start with, and this doesn't really help you, right?
Great point.
Right.
So, like, for example, you might say to yourself, oh, well, this will buy me the depth I need. So let's say when you go through and look at your team on Sleeper or whatever platform, let's say the starters are okay. But like Mike says, you got one shaky one, an Odell Beckham. Let's even say like an Elijah Mitchell, something like that. Then you get to the bench, and pretty quickly, you're not talking about guys that realistically are going to get in and out of your lineup. Right. This type of depth is not going to make you all of a sudden more stable, right? I think that's kind of exactly what I'm saying, Mike. So well put.
100%. And I think I need to put that on a T-shirt because I said it to Zach the other day. He was showing off his home league best ball roster that he loves. And he's showing the starting lineup, and I said, I don't give a fuck. Show me the bench.
Show me the deep stuff, buddy. Open the underwear drawer. Come on.
You said best ball. I want to see that bench.
Show me your bench. I like it. But yeah, I think a good trade for Hawaii, given that I hope, listening, he's been a follower of the show for a while. If he's built right, Hawaii, I like the deal. I do. Okay, so now let's talk about this one, Mike. 12-team Superflex PPR. Half-point tight end premium again. This is lineup start 10. The Fucknut Invitational. Okay.
Wow.
Tearing up.
We get all the good names.
Tearing up in the Fucknut Invitational, Mike. Lineup start 10. Given, I don't know how serious this toe injury that Terry's dealing with is. Given that, and this first is his 2025, so it's out a couple. Is Devontae Adams a difference maker worth tearing up to for this? Or is this one in lineup start 10 where it's more about hammers, you would take the down tier?
This is tough, but I do still put Devontae Adams in that. I know the Jimmy G situation, we all worried about it because he's a trash quarterback. Like he's not very good. Okay, sorry. I'll also die on this hill as well as the Brock Purdy one. Jimmy G's not very good, but I've seen Devontae Adams play with shitty quarterbacks. And by shitty quarterbacks, I mean Deshaun Kaiser, and Devontae did just fine with Deshaun Kaiser. So it's fine. Like, he's going to get a shit ton of targets. Hell, Adam, I don't even know if he finishes the year in Vegas.
I do think
right?
there's definitely a chance he doesn't. I think that should be baked into upside, but I also think, like, if he goes somewhere else and it's a good quarterback situation, who knows? It could end up really, really booming. But, like, let's talk about Nuke, for example. He goes to Tennessee, and you're kind of like, ugh, like, what happened? So I don't want to bake too much upside into that, but to the point you're making, we've seen him, regardless of quarterback play, like, have elite upside. And this is kind of chasing, in my opinion, Mike, this is where one of those where you're chasing the title, and this maybe is one of the last, like, the puzzle piece you needed, right? Give me that one extra stud difference maker at receiver. I know I'm foregoing some value. I know down the road it could hurt, but this is a push. Like, I think my team is just this piece away from winning. This is where I could, if I had that build, I could do it. I do think, though, on the flip side, like, if you're an old team going for it, right, and you're making a move like this right now, there's how many things do we not know that will happen in the season, right?
Correct.
That's where, like, to me, this is dicey. I'll say this, in a process play, I'd probably prefer to hold it a little longer. But at the same time, if you get Adams now and he's healthy all year, this could end up totally changing your team. It's just it comes with significant risk given that your first is in there. And if you, like, I'm imagining your team's a little older built when you buy a guy like this too.
I like Terry, but, you know, as we get to start 10, like, he's at best case scenario a wide receiver 3 or a flex option, right? That's kind of where you want him to be. And if this makes my team, you know, go from Terry McLaurin as my wide receiver 3 to Devontae Adams as my wide receiver 3, sign me up, man. Lineup league, sign me up. Talk about hammers. That's a hammer wide receiver, man. That's a guy who could,
100%.
Who could flat out, not a lot of dudes got that potential to be wide receiver 1 overall. Devontae Adams is one of those guys. Terry McLaurin is not.
Yeah, and I think, as much as I love Terry, acknowledging format for him is very big, right? Mm-hmm. Lineup start 13, different conversation. Lineup start 10, different conversation. We get the best ball. Like, if this is best ball, for example,
best ball, I want Terry
I'm taking the first all day. I think this is one of those trades and where a tear down is format dependent for me. And I can still say, I could make the case if your build was the right way, going to Terry in the first on the value and just, like, multiplying. But in lineup start 10, that's where I'm okay. Go for it, man. Go for that hammer.
Yep. I'm with you.
Too much agreement, man. The people are like, what happened? I thought this was the Fight Club. Well, hopefully we'll get there. All right. Darnell Mooney, Mike. Justin Fields, Michael Wilson, 24 first and second from Captain Carey. Captain Carey is getting Dak Prescott, Darren Waller, Nick Chubb, Brandon Aiyuk, Mike Evans, 24 third and 24 fourth. I'm just going to say I'll let you start. There's just what I'm seeing right now, though, makes me very uncomfortable about this deal for one side. But this is a 12-team Superflex PPR, 0.5 tight end premium, lineup start 10, RIP Sabby. I'm assuming that's do you have any idea what that is? I feel like that's an inside thing.
I have no idea. I'm not a young whippersnapper anymore, man. I don't know.
Yeah, our guy Schumer is out here, you know, living it up. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't know what the hell that means.
They made fun of me at the expo because I thought the song "ISIS" by Lucas Joyner was new. So, like, I give up, man.
All right,
this new joint. This is awesome.
See, this is the type of shit, man. I love it. God damn, this is fantastic. All right, let's get into assessing this deal because that's fantastic.
So Fields for Prescott. I don't know what would you attach to it to make it feel like good. Like, I'm cool with like a Waller or an Aiyuk if you want to just cancel those guys out, right?
So you're saying Waller and Aiyuk and Dak to go get Fields? Is that what you're saying? No, that's not it, right?
Waller and Dak, or Aiyuk and Dak.
Oh, one of the two. Yeah. Okay, I could get behind that. Yeah, definitely.
And I think it might be a little bit overpay, but I'm cool with it. You know, in lineup, you know, we're kind of these tight ends. At least I am. Waller, I got some interest in because we've seen him kind of be in that elite tier. Like, everything's setting up for him to be as long as he stays healthy, which I don't know if he could do. But so let's just do this. Adam, Waller, Dak, Fields. I'm good. We just cancel those dudes out.
Okay.
None of this other shit adds up to what Corey got. None of it.
I want to talk through the reasons why I say that. Okay. Just last trade, at the end of it, it's funny I didn't know this one was here, but I'm talking about understanding the difference in formats. Like, it couldn't have been a perfect pivot point into getting into this trade, right? If you're telling me I'm getting that other side in like a best ball league, okay, I get it because of all the pieces you're getting. Not even going to discuss the value, but let's just say here, I can understand what you're going for here, right? Even though you're getting a lot of aging assets, maybe not a specific hammer, you got 5 pieces, and it's like, all right, the depth play maybe can work. Here's the problem. This is lineup start 10, Mike. Lineup start 10. So first and foremost, we talk about A-Warp. I'm not chasing a Waller for any value. So when you go to the quarterback swap, now, I agree with you 100% in value. But when we say, like, do I want Dak or Fields? I answer that with Fields. Does Waller get to the table of even mattering if I'm going to pick one or the other? Absolutely not. Like, if anything, like you said, I want to get off of Waller.
Right,
I want to acquire him cheap.
Does Aiyuk factor in then?
Aiyuk there, Aiyuk would probably do it. Now, but okay, so like let's say that's fair, right? Now the problem for me is though, again, as a whole in this trade, like let's even say the value works out, but nothing that you're doing here in these tiered in these moves is worth, I think, chasing a first for really. Like Nick Chubb down the road, if you're buying at a little bit later time and you know he's healthy and you're ready to go, I'm for it then. But outside of that, like you're not getting hammers. You're not getting people you feel like in your lineup are going to really be difference makers in this format, right?
You don't think Nick Chubb could be a difference maker in a start 10?
No, he's the one. That's why I said, and I just caveated with for him.
Let
me if I said this wrong, let me rephrase. Outside of him, none of these guys are going to be hammers in my opinion, really. Like Waller could be.
Waller. Yeah, those are just depth pieces. Yeah.
Right, and Aiyuk is probably someone in this format I want to have and want to start, but I'm not feeling like, holy shit, this is a hammer type, right? So my point is to get rid of the better option at quarterback, already for me in this trade, I'm not really loving. But then, especially you attach my first and second, no. Heck no. Dude, that's where I think, like, this is one of those trades, Mike, where we could go through the value of it, and it's going to end up being Schumer's side to your point, right? But to me, in just understanding the lineup and the format, this is a non-starter for me just in the pieces I'm acquiring, given what I'm sending away. Like, even if the value was closer to adding up, this is not at all what I'm buying in these type of formats for my first anymore. It's something I've done in the past and learned what the hell was I doing, right? Like, that's one of the biggest things. Like, in this format here, I'm not sending my first. Now, for Chubb, that's the one piece. If I know, like, I'm a little more secure, running back's what I need, and I can send my first for him, and I'm going to make the playoffs and all that, okay, yes, I would do it there. Outside of that, like right now, today, I'm not sending my first for these guys. I don't want to do that. Chubb is not that he couldn't be a hammer. It's just if my team falls apart, I lose that first, and then what if he gets hurt or something? So I don't want to buy him currently at the time for a first.
Okay, interesting. I'm strongly on the Captain Carey side. I think he bet my valedictorian over here. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So well, hold on. Let's do this. So let's say it's Fields.
Number one. Schumer took back some pieces that I don't give a fuck about.
I'm assuming I'm hoping that Mooney and Wilson did not acquire for value for him. They're total roster cloggers.
The crux of the deal, he got Fields a first and a second, but like he tiered up at quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. Which is fine. Like I like Fields, but I'm also a big staunch proponent of Dak, at least for 1 year. Like Dak has that ability in that offense to push top 5, period. Mm-hmm. But people don't value him like that. So I'm okay. Like Dak is still in a start 10, a quarterback that I want in my QB1 or QB2 spot. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb sure as fuck is in a start 10. And with the way the warp is on it with the running backs, like I'm in. Like if I got to send my first and the second to do that, great. And then even if I was a little bit hesitant about pushing my first and second in right now, Adam, like you said, in this because of the blowback, I get some nice fucking depth pieces back in Darren Waller and Mike Evans. Like I do. I'm not slotting Mike Evans in as like a starter, but to have a guy coming off the bench or have the option to put in my wide receiver spot with injuries or bye weeks, like I'm fine with Mike Evans in a lineup start 10. Like he's okay. And Darren Waller kind of the same thing, even though it's a warp tight end. I don't know what this dude's tight end situation in, but Darren Waller could very well just be the tight end one that he just starts all year.
Could be, but
like I'm completely fine with this for a depth move because he got so much back. Like if it was just Dak, Aiyuk, and Nick Chubb, right, and that's all he got back, and he had to send away Fields the first and the second.
But that's the way I'm looking at this, though. But that's the way I'm looking at this, though, because Waller to me, well, here's why, Mike. It's not that Waller can't matter, but if we're gonna do the principle of it, like Waller's a piece that goes at tight end. If I'm gonna play that game with A-Warp, to me, that is not going to be a piece that I'm valuing in the deal. One, it's just not. I'm not going to be taking that on. And then two, Evans right now, the thing about him is he's a depth piece. The quarterback situation is not great. I'm not saying I won't carry him on my roster, but I'm kind of in this format not really adding that much weight to them in the value. So when I say it's Dak, Chubb, and Aiyuk, I get it, man. It's not bad. It's just for me, though, I don't want to be sending in a lineup start 10, Mike, the better quarterback and my first to do this. Like, and that's not saying that the value, for example, let's say you can move Waller and you can move Waller and Evans later. Like maybe you end up 4D'ing this better because there is some dynasty value over there. But for me, the way I want to build, it's not horrible. I don't think at this time just securing Chubb, because what I'd much rather do, Mike, if you wanted to do this personally, is probably just buy Chubb outright or buy Chubb and Aiyuk outright and just keep my Fields. I don't need to get Waller. I don't need to get Evans. So that's kind of the way I'm viewing it, given the format. But
and I'll take them if they're free. Which in my case, what I'm thinking here is they're fucking free. Like he sent them away for nothing. I'm all about the A-Ward principles of getting rid of tight ends and liquidating them. I'm just not doing it for free. I'm not going to go to you and be like, here, take a Darren Waller. What do you need back? Nothing. Wilson.
I don't do them as free though, because like what's the difference in to your point, right? The difference in Dak and Fields is quite a bit. In a lineup start 10, that's the one like I don't want to lose out at quarterback
for 1 year though.
Why? Like why am I doing? I'm saying for this right here, and I'm losing my first. Like if you're telling me you wanted to go from Fields to Dak and you get Aiyuk and you needed that in your roster construction, I'm cool with that, right? I get that. Or if you're saying you want to send your first right now for Chubb, I wouldn't do it time-wise right now. But to me, that's where the crux of the deal, like the Evans and the Waller piece, I don't view them as free. I view them as like more pieces that maybe you can move them. To me, though, I'm getting off of like the difference in Fields and Dak to me in a market like this probably is a lot. I don't want to do that for this, where I'd maybe rather just keep my first or buy Aiyuk, buy Chubb, buy those same types elsewhere at different stores and keep my Fields. Like that's the way I typically would rather have it in this format. Doesn't mean that Captain Carey can't make moves on it. There's also the last thing, Mike, is that when you make moves like this, right, all in the contender pushes, there's not a true hammer outside of probably Chubb here. Dak probably could give you absolutely what Fields could. I don't see it personally, but it could happen. But if you make this move and that first is now gone and things go wrong for you, imagine if you got the best assets in the deal in Fields and that first is pretty good. That's where like I understand shooting for more of the moon in lineup start 10, and that's kind of where, not saying that there's not more value on the other side, even if you looked at like a Dynasty Daddy calculator, like even if you break it down, I just don't want to value Evans and Waller as reasons I'm getting off of a guy like Fields and a first too.
I get you, but terrible move, Corey. You fucked up.
I guess you lost your valedictorian stuff because that was Mike's all along. I never even said it, so sorry, bud. I tried.
Sorry.
Out there finessing behind my face. How's that look now, buddy? You're out of luck. All right, Mike. Let's take a look at this one. 12-team Superflex, full tight end premium, Christ. Best ball start 11, 4th and inches, Mike. It's 4th and inches. Pump quick. Lord of the Rings freak. Brandon Cooks in a first, Mike, or Jonathan Taylor a 3rd and a 4th.
JT. Stop it.
Man, this is so. What's interesting about this deal? Like I just don't understand. Like right now, I love JT still the player. I don't know what his year is going to look like this year, right? I'm unsure of what the hell his real market is right now. Like, cause you know what, Mike? If people trying to buy JT from me all the time, right? I'm almost never even getting first in deals. Like, I'm not really looking to liquidate right now anyway. But my point is these offers I'm getting, I'm not even seeing first or him going for first. Then you throw in a Brandon Cooks, and it's like in best ball, I'm not even saying I want that side. I'm just saying, like, for the return, I'm actually imagining this is not that horrible because I kind of feel like Taylor's market's fucked. But that's just like overall thinking about his market right now, frankly, because a lot of times you have a good feel on players. This one, I don't have a good feel on Jonathan Taylor's actual market. It's not saying I wouldn't even be willing to send this on the right team. It's just like I have no idea what his market actually looks like.
That's fair. His market's kind of in flux, and the people who are capitalizing on it right now are the ones like PXMP Quick, which I'm
Mike,
fine with.
If you want to pull up Dynasty Daddy, I'll pull up the simulator. I think
already got them both up.
All right, cool. So you got the Farson Baker. What are we looking at?
The guy getting JT is finishing 4th right now in the simulator, 8.64 wins.
Okay.
And on Dynasty Daddy, he is also ranked 4th. Shout out to Dynasty Daddy, man. Whatever the fuck they're doing over there.
What's up, Jeremy?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
No,
not too bad.
I'm more curious too. Now that is, I do want to know
this is what I love
Farson's
to see.
Team?
This is what I love to see too, and especially with Dynasty Daddy, and we'll be working on this to kind of figure out a way, like our partnership. Like I got some ideas for him, but also interested to see what Jeremy says about it.
Yeah.
When you look at rankings, everything kind of just goes off of your traditional lineup, right? But when I go to Dynasty Daddy, like the starter rank is 9, but the overall rank is 4. Meaning this team's got a shit ton of depth, right? So you're going out and spending, which I love in best ball. You know, my affinity for depth. So starter rank, while it may be low, overall rank 4, quarterback rank 2, RB rank 4, wide receivers 11, which could be a little bit scary, but we know in best ball, I mean, you just hammer some of these fucking turds at the bottom and you get a spike week out of them just here and there. Trenton Irwin's, like those kind of guys. And then tight ends kind of middle of the road, and draft capital 2nd. So he actually still has some draft capital left. Jesus, we didn't even catch that. He's not even sending away his 1st.
Yeah,
he still has his 1st.
What and where does Farson Baker rank on these? Is what my question is.
Number 2
on simulator
2.
and then Dynasty Daddy too.
Dynasty Daddy now, because he doesn't have his draft picks. Obviously, he is 10th overall, ranked 10th.
Meaning like towards the bottom.
Yeah, towards the bottom. So we have a wide range here.
All right, so this is where my hesitation actually comes from. One, the market. Like I personally don't even know if like a single first in a lot of these leagues is what people are paying. That's not telling you that I wouldn't pay a single first on the right build. What it's telling me is I don't know that that's what market dictates. Then Mike, let me just ask you this for a question. Brandon Cooks are a 3rd and a 4th in best ball league. Is that really close for you?
Brandon Cooks or a 3rd and a 4th? I'll take Brandon Cooks. You can
Agreed.
have your 3rd and the 4th.
Right. And so this is where, Mike, for me, one of the things I'm starting to think about, I haven't done yet, but like I almost really wish we could pull up the actual sleeper team and see like how good the depth is. How much do I want to bet against? Because
for who? This is why Dynasty Daddy is cool.
Farson Baker. I want to see the team.
Baker.
Let's do a team dive because here's the thing, Mike.
Quarterback's a little bit scary.
Oh,
right?
man. See, if it's worth betting against, I would take that side.
Rich and Derek Carr.
That's not terrible, but no 3rd.
Will Levis.
No 3rd. Yeah.
Running backs. Eckler, Ramondre, Joe Mixon, Madison, Ty Chandler, Kareem Hunt, like those kind of running backs later.
So how many is that like right now that you could count as
4 solid guys who could produce?
Start 11. I wish I had a lot more, right?
Wide receivers, Diggs, Pittman. A little questionable after that.
Dude, give me the Farson Baker side right now, right? Because I want to bet against that team.
Hold on. Yeah. Like Justin Ross, DPJ, Tyler Boyd, Zay Jones, Curtis Samuel, Tyquan Thornton. Yeah, can't even believe I said that. Mac Hollins, right?
Dude,
but
can we agree now? When we dive into this, that's a lot closer to now where we want Brandon Cooks.
One thing to remember, though, it's best ball. I don't know what the starting spots are, right? Like, I mean, what they actually are. If they're flexes or if they're, like, locked in a lot of positions. It's a 1.0 tight end premium, Adam. Like a full bonus. His tight end room, Kelce, Kmet, Jawan Johnson, Irv Smith, Zach Ertz. All dudes who would be a threat in best ball. In a 1.0 tight end premium to be flexes every single week.
Absolutely.
So while your wide receivers are a little bit meh, I think your running backs are completely fine. And your quarterbacks, you can probably get by, but I'd like to have a 3rd. I don't think this team is dog shit by any stretch of the imagination, which is probably why our league simulator favors it with the 1.0 tight end premium.
This is the team in best ball I want to bet against. There's zero room for error at quarterback. There is not very much depth at running back. there is not enough depth at receiver. So for me, when I know that, one, if everything goes right, you still might not be that good. If everything doesn't go right, you definitely aren't going to be that good. That's where because here's the thing. Let's say this team ends up flirting with the playoffs in mid. Like, I think in a mid, I'd like Taylor long term, and it's hard for me because I want to buy him most spots. But if I get Brandon Cooks for this third and the fourth, this first I think has a chance to buy me, maybe not Taylor value-wise in Dynasty, but something that can get me at least the production that's very good. I could buy a Pollard type or something like that with this first. Worst case scenario, if it's like more of a mid pick. And I think if this pick ends up early, you can either go back and bend over this team that was wrong. It's not even a part of this deal. I got Forrest and Baker's pick against him now, and now you can go get like 2 or 3 pieces for this pick. Oh,
good.
If you don't even have, sometimes you're like, man, I'm not even letting this go because it could be Marvin Harrison Jr.
And the flip side is after 4 games, Jonathan Taylor comes back, and he's Jonathan Taylor for the Colts or whatever team he gets traded for. Mm-hmm. You have an RB1, and I don't really give a fuck what that pick was. Like, it was well worth it for me.
I'll take the first, and I think with a first that has a chance to be against that team, I'll definitely, if it's a middling looking first to me, and the team is worth betting against in best ball, I'll take that liquidity, try to buy something right now. You could also end up probably in the first 4 weeks when he's not playing, if you wanted to buy a running back that's going to give you production. I wouldn't be doing that. I'd be trying to wait and see what this is. But this is one I would take the other side, given all the components. I think there's definitely a case to be made, though, if that pick wasn't worth betting against, where you're just like, you know what, this is cheap for Taylor. So that's where, knowing the details, I'll take the other side.
I get you. I think it's not worth betting against me. Like, it's just a best case scenario, 108, 107. And for that, I'll pay for JT right now.
Oh, man. You know what? Speaking of bookmarks, Fight Club, Christian, bookmark this. We're going back, and we're gonna see Forrest and Baker outside this playoff race, man. Let's go take a peek later. Ooh. All right. Let's take a look.
I'm counting on you, Farson.
Hey,
look, Jonathan Taylor.
We got a Taylor thumbnail, don't we? There's a Taylor market, and we're gonna discuss it. Okay.
I think we do got a Jonathan Taylor thumbnail here.
Yeah. So Jonathan Taylor or James Cook in a first, Mike. Difference here: 12-team Superflex, best PPR, full tight end premium, not a best ball. It's a lineup start 10. What do you think here?
I'm going JT. JT. Lineup start 10. I like James Cook. You know, fuck, you give me shit about him all the time. But
of course.
Lineup start 10. I want the guy to potentially be a hammer, and you can have that. You can have that first.
All right. So I got Warp pulled up. A Warp given the league. So running back is, it's good. It's hovering. It's below the wide receivers in the 18 and 12 range, and then the high end ones they're tracking with the receivers. So I would say, like, I can see the scenario of I think I'm going to get Taylor for the stretch run, and he could be a complete hammer difference maker like you're talking about. I'll be honest though, like, looking at this and the process,
this is where context comes into so much.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this first of all right now. I'm into buying Taylor, Mike, honestly, but I think if this is what market is going to be in these formats, it's too pricey for me right now, man. Like, it really is.
This is where people got to take stock. Now, I'm in on the last JT trade. And with no context, Adam, I'm in on this one. When I get the context, I go,
I'm out. Yeah.
Can't do it.
Okay.
I can't do it, right?
I'll allow it. Talk us through it.
Yonks is kind of a middle-of-the-road team. Like,
this is who I want to sell it to then, right?
Middle of the road in Dynasty Daddy. It's a lineup, Adam. Like, and it's only start 10. I mean, like, Justin Herbert's awesome, but then your other quarterbacks are Jordan Love and Matt Stafford. Like, both dudes that could be zeros. Okay?
Because
your running back room is fucking amazing. Like, your running back room is awesome, right? Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris. Like, that's, like, Cam Akers.
Mike, you already had those 4 running backs. You don't even need to buy Taylor.
Correct. Your running back room's cool. I'm still okay acquiring JT. Like, I still am. Here's the problem. It's a lineup. It's start 10. The number 1 wide receiver on your team is Deebo Samuel at this moment.
Oh, give me this first in a mile, country mile.
Like, I'm good with the rip inside here. Like, Just give me James Cook. I'm going to bet against your team. And if I get some production out of James Cook, like, cool, I'm ready to ride this baby off into the sunset. Thanks for the first. And I'm with you on this one. I would bet against this team because I do think this is one where I look at it and I go, this has got a lot of flaws.
And I think too, like for me, okay, so the context you just gave me there makes it, I'd have a hard time for someone to actually give me reasons that I can buy into of why it would make sense given that build. But I would say this, Mike.
Oh, I take that back too. It's even worse than I thought.
Even better.
Listen, there's two teams. There's one called Yonks and there's one called Yonkatonk.
Oh, you were looking. Yonks 21's even worse.
Yonks on our simulator is 9th overall.
Mike, you're talking
Yonks
about right
on
now.
Yonks on Dynasty Daddy's labeled as a rebuilding team, number 11 in overall value.
Marv Harrison and James Cook, Drake May and James Cook.
So that one's
Caleb Williams and Drake and James Cook.
That one's Fields, A-Rich, and Ryan Tannehill. So I think the quarterback situation is a little bit better, right? Overall in the start 10.
Agreed.
JT, ETN, Damian Pierce, Roshan. Okay, that's fine. Wide receivers a little bit better, DK, but like your wide receiver 2 in a start 10 is Jahan Dotson, who in a start 10, we get a lot of questions on our trade show on the YouTube about like, what do I do with Jahan Dotson? I'm like, start 10 or 9. I don't really give a shit. like I love you, Jahan, but like I ain't feeling it.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me he's got to be my wide receiver 2, and then it's Jerry Jeudy as your wide receiver 3. It's Elijah Moore as your
Mike,
wide
here's
receiver
the thing.
4.
Jerry Jeudy isn't playing right away.
Right.
Jonathan Taylor's not playing right away. I was just going to say this one thing. I think right now, especially in a lineup start 10 format where I'm looking at warp like this, one of the things I wanted to mention is if buying a running back for a first is a luxury trade, okay? And what I mean by that is you better have like all the essentials taken care of to send my first away for a running back.
Let me ask you this one because this will highlight it perfectly, Adam. We love Bijan. We love Jahmyr Gibbs. And then let's just say it's Jahmyr Gibbs. Bijan's is kind of a different animal, right? Like a different kind of guy.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs. If you're a rebuilder right now, is there any way in hell, if somebody came to you with this crazy offer and said, hey, I'll sell you my Jahmyr Gibbs for your rebuilding first or your bottom end first, where you kind of know your second year productive struggle, whatever the fuck you want to say.
No, I know the value of that pick and what I'm going to do with my team.
Exactly. Fuck you. Like, even though we can give you this base value of Jahmyr Gibbs is damn near worth 2 firsts. And like Jahmyr Gibbs is this kind of running back you want to, like you can see next year still going to retain a lot of value. He's a unicorn for the running back position. I'm still telling you to fuck off. Right? That's what you're saying with luxury pick.
But because think
you
of
don't
why.
do it.
You're not going to do it, and it's also even let's say you flipped out Gibbs for 2 firsts, but what if those end up being late? And now lineup start 10 is all about what? If I'm rebuilding, I want these early picks. I want to get hammers, and I need to get my quarterback room right?
Yes, 100%.
I don't need to get Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't need to get Taylor. So it's already to me, Mike. Now, I think buying a running back with the first in this format is probably a luxury pick. Buying a running back that I like the talent of, and I don't really give much to long-term play. I think Taylor has some left in the tank after this season. So I understand it, but it's like if I'm sending a first already in this format, it's like a luxury pick, like I said. I don't need to do that. And then he's not even going to play the first 4 games, and I don't have any idea what's going to happen. It's not that the dynasty value isn't still there long-term or I don't like the talent of Taylor. This build – forget the build, sorry. This format is not where I want to buy Taylor for a first and Cook outside of a rare scenario, Mike, where it's like, okay – you're just kind of making a bet of this could be a league winner that adds to my ridiculous team.
Correct.
That's the one I wanted to actually walk through all that. That's the one scenario where I could make the case. Outside of that, I don't think it's worth it, man, given what JT is.
Started off with similar situation the first trade we did, the league that I'm in, that I'm talking about, Adam. I got a copious amounts of depth, and I've been desperately trying to tier up and, see what I can get for my first. But people know it's late. They know my team is good. They know I have depth. This is what you're talking about, luxury pick. I would push my first in a James Cook type running back in on that fucking squad all day of the week to go take the shot on Jonathan Taylor. Because, Adam, if I'm wrong, I don't give a shit. Nick Chubb's going into my lineup. Breece Hall's going into my lineup. Saquon's going into my lineup. I'm just looking for that guy in JT, where if he comes back, I'm like, I got the fucking greatest flex position in the entire league, in a lineup league where I just push the button and go, done.
I get it. I think, I'll say this. The last point I'll make is I get in that scenario doing that. I will say, even then, though, the one thing you got to ask yourself before you make that trade, this is obviously taking out the context. We're talking now in a generic principle. It's like your team. It's really loaded. This offer's out there, and you're like, I could see the case where this matters on my team down the stretch. Okay? Mm-hmm. The one thing I think you have to weigh absolutely in this league is because what we talked about. It's hammers. It's probably, stud wide receivers and quarterbacks. Opportunity cost. What can this first and James Cook, or maybe you keep James Cook on your lineup, what can this first attach to other things go by you, and would you rather do that? I think that's the other thing you really have to ask yourself about making that trade right now versus holding the first as well. So those are the two big things for me. And the process right now I think is not the greatest unless your team is outrageously good. And even then the process is questionable. So it's a bet worth making. I
understand it too, because we play in leagues where people do value first. But you and I have also played in leagues before where we've had this conversation. Nobody values first. Where
correct.
We can give them away for shitters.
They're literally
we tried, and nobody was like.
The only thing you can do is hold them because you're not going to fold them for that.
Nobody cares. Yep.
All right, let's see. Do we have another one? Oh, I would love to. Actually, I'm good on the market of Taylor now. All right, Koopa Troop. Let's see what we did here, Mike. All I know is we're starting off with a tight end in picks, so this better be best ball. Oh, no, it's lineup. Okay. Dallas Goedert first. Oh, 2 first. 24 and 25 first of this manager. A 24 second, a 24 third, and Goddard. Sending away Pitts, Charbonnet, and Pickett. 12-team Superflex half PPR lineup start 10. Quarantine Dynasty League. So you're getting Mike Dallas Goedert. So you're tearing down essentially from Pitts to Goddard, right?
Yeah.
To do so, you're losing Charbonnet. You're getting a second back. Probably lean Charbonnet there, but it's not horrible. But then Pickett, Mike. And let me ask you, given he's looking better, 2 first and a third for Pickett. That's where I know you're winning at Pitts and you're winning at Sharbs, but given the A-Warp thing, if you want to bet against Pitts, you're getting back a Goddard. It's not a crazy – you're losing some dynasty value there, right?
So let me ask you, just on the surface, no context, whatever, you don't dive into it. Is Dallas Goedert in the second for you enough to come off your Kyle Pitts right now?
In this league?
Yeah.
Probably yes, because you're trying to get off. But honestly, for me, the only caveat I'll make, and maybe Koopa knows he can then sell Goddard and kind of just extract value all the way down the chart.
Is it Goddard in a 25 first? Is that what you would need to feel comfortable? What is your breaking point for Kumpka?
I would say even the second I'm okay with if I'm trying to get off these tight ends. But I would just say the one thing there is if Goddard's all they could give you in the deal to make it work, fine. I would almost rather just liquidate though Pitts, right?
Yeah, I would too. But sometimes that's not feasible.
And if that's not feasible to your point, right? Yeah, 25 first and Goddard's a smash. The second, I could make the case for market sake, maybe you hold, but I'm not gonna fight you if you're just gonna get rid of them.
That's the only reason I would have to. Market wise, maybe people like Pitts and. You could get more, but I'm completely fine with Dallas Goedert in the second.
Yeah,
the 24
I'm with you.
Second.
I'm with you. If you're liquidating tight ends and that's the best way you can do it, and then you got to tear down again, go ahead.
Listen, please don't pull my Kenny Pickett fucking driving the bandwagon card. Okay, I still need my driver's license for that. But in a start 10 lineup league, Adam, I was thinking initially, I'm I'll take a first and a second for Kenny Pickett. That feels right. In a start 10, as much as I love you, Kenny Pickett, in a start 10, get the fuck out for any first. Peace. See ya. I move on with myself. I'm sorry, Kenny.
That feels like growth. That feels like growth, man.
I'm sorry, Kenny.
You would fight Mac Jones on that for a while now. This is growth out of you nutted. Look at this guy, man. He's been to Fight Club. We knocked a little sense into him. Let's go, man. I would say this though.
That point,
a first,
then
at least
you get 2 firsts and a third for Pickett and Sharps.
This is where the second now later on, whether it's a rebuild or not, you can either buy a running back later or find one later to fill the Charbonnet loss.
Correct.
Think about what you have though. Pickett. Let's use Mike. I want to use a range of outcomes, and we just think about this in evaluation. You and I were bullish. I think he's looked pretty good in the preseason. I expect him to take a step forward. Range of outcomes, range of outcomes if he really has a lot of growth. like, man, anything's possible. I just don't see a Ben Roethlisberger type ceiling out of this kid, realistically.
Well, best case scenario, Adam. Let's really think about it. And this is me being Kenny Pickett's Stan, right?
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get to. The top range of outcome.
The absolute rosiest outcomes. QB 11, 12.
I was just gonna say back end quarterback 1 though, right? Because even if it's a step forward and even if he's a lot better, now to the point there though, I do want to say this, and this is what I was gonna say about the single first. I get it from the aspect of you can probably leverage these and do more with it later. If he's quarterback 11, you don't want to sell it and line up start 10, pick it for a single first. But but understand that's the probable ceiling of what the kid could be.
Yes.
And understand there's also a scenario where he's locked into quarterback 18-ish, which in this format is more market than anything, and no one's going to care about him as a hammer. He's not going to even be in a discussion. Right. So 2 firsts and Goddard. Honestly, Mike, if you just told me right now, again, I think this is big, understanding format. Just tell me right now it's Goddard and 2 firsts. I'm good.
I'd still do the deal.
I'm good.
I'd still do the deal. You got a free second and third.
Exactly what I'm thinking, Mike. And the big thing, too, is you now can liquidate Goddard if you do this right, which I know Koopa is going to liquidate these tight ends. He promised me. So Goddard's going for now whatever he's going to go for, right? So now you've liquidated everything over there. That's the other beauty of this.
You promised me.
Don't you fucking let me down, Koopa, all right? All right, 12-team Superflex PPR, half-point tight end premium, lineup start 10, DK's active Dynasty League. Well, this type of activity is questionable, so let me ask you, what do you think here, buddy? Joe Fest, Shoddy B. Now, here's the question, Mike. A second and 2/3 or Shoddy B, lineup start 10?
This, as much as this sucks to say, and I'm sorry, D, bro. I'm sorry. I'd liquidate in a start 10 lineup Rashad Bateman for those picks. I would. I don't give a fuck where they're at. What you project, I just want the liquidity of the picks. I'm sorry. This is 2 people I had to apologize to on back-to-back trades. Kenny Pickett and D-Bro. I'm sorry. Sorry, Shoddy, too. Peace.
You see this? Last week, anything I say on here, Mike's coming for jugulars. Now he's out here apologizing to people not even on the show. Do y'all see what I'm dealing with? Maybe he went to the chapel last time we talked about that one trade. All right. I'll say this. This is not if you think Bateman actually can be a good player still, if you have the D-Bro love, it's not the worst thing in the world given this format. However, to me, he's not at this point, the bet I want to make for this draft capital. Okay. I know it's not gigantic draft capital loss, but I think about these thirds and I think, what if I could buy a crusty running back spot start, right? Then you get to a second where maybe I can buy not a crusty one. Maybe I can buy a running back that actually is going to help me in this league. Maybe I can package some of these up with some other stuff, some fluff, if you will, to go get into a tier of a receiver that matters more, right? I would say this, it's just not the process I want to do in this format. Mm-hmm. Nothing really wrong with the value, or if you believe you're a strong Shoddy B truther still, it's probably what market dictates, truthfully. Maybe a little heavy, but it's just not the bet I want to make, period. You know?
Yeah. Sorry, Shoddy.
Sorry, Joe Fast. Sorry, Shoddy. Man, this is bro. Speaking of growth, I was very excited for him last year. It sucks. Speaking of very excited for last year and some excited for this year, man, if we would have had a Trey Lance deal yesterday or last week during the Fight Club, that's all I needed. That's all I would have needed. All right, Goat Rings is liquidating, Mike. All right, this is actually interesting because I hadn't seen many Lance deals, and look at this guy. He is upset in a way that you can't even look at that face. Holy crap, Mike! To tier up from a third to a second, is Trey Lance worth liquidating for that?
Liquidating? Fuck no. It's 3 Goat Rings today. Give me Trey Lance in the third.
So here's the one thing that's interesting about this. Because the picks are where they are, it's literally a 12-pick difference, whatever it becomes, right? 201 to 301 or 212 to 312. Now, in a lineup start 11, Mike, given what his market is, if you're telling me what I'm gaining is a full round from the third to the second, if it ends up being early, I don't really want to just lose Lance this way, but I could like say, if you're telling me that's guaranteed early, I wouldn't want to do it, but I could see the point. But like, if 7 Goat Rings liquidates this for a late second, and maybe he has plans to move or whatever. I guess I get that Trey Lance is a dead asset probably. Like what I mean by that is I'm holding him probably for a whole year.
Suck it. 6 Goat Rings, 5 Goat Rings, 4 Goat Rings.
I don't. In lineup start 11 for a quarterback that I know is really low in value right now, but has a chance, whether it's a Dak injury, which has happened how many times, Mike, or he ends up, maybe you don't see it this year. Like, it just feels like you're really selling for a minimal gain here. I'd almost prefer, as bad as it sounds, to just keep the Lance prayer, and maybe it becomes nothing, but there's upside there where there's just not with the tier up in personal preference from the 3rd to 2nd for me. Let me know. Let us know, because I hate to side with Mike and Trey Lance on this one after last week, but
hey,
tell me, am I crazy here? Am I crazy? Go ahead.
Aguirre, the picks that are coming, number 2 team in the league simulator.
So that's the thing. It's a class that could be shallow, Mike. A late 2nd to a late 3rd.
Who gives a fuck? Give me Trey Lance.
Man.
We did it. Sorry, 3 Goat Rings.
Mike, I don't even.
Coming for my neck.
I'll tell you one thing. I know what Blitz just did here. And I'm going to be honest. Blitz, we've said this before. You're fired.
See you.
You're fired. All right? I know exactly what you did here. You tried to set us up.
You're fired.
He'll read anything that comes across that teleprompter. All right. Joke's on me, huh? You're going to eat the cat poop, Blitz.
Eat the cat poop.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, I understand that the Trey Lance thing is pretty dead, and there's not a lot of value there. But that to me doesn't feel like it's worth it in lineup start 11. I'm sure people are gonna. I think people are gonna disagree, come for our throats, whatever. That's fine. That's okay. I understand there's not a lot of value, but there's potential hope and upside. Even if he's a starter at one point, maybe I could sell for more. So that's kind of what I'm holding out for there. Mike, overall the deals.
Good stuff. We only disagreed really on one, and it was Schumer fucking up, losing his valedictorian status, which is fine. Adam out here saving you, even though I'm the one crowned you. I thought, Adam, you'd be in. I thought you'd be in. Like, we're gonna strip him of the sash.
It would have been fine. I think what happened is, though, he didn't realize like who was gonna help save him one day. He's out there finessing behind my face on that type of shit will cost you. That type of shit will cost you.
In reality, it probably should have gone to Dr. B, like, because he's a much better technical dancer.
Right. And the performance for the whole week was just, he was tough to beat.
Phenomenal.
Actually, it's interesting, though. Schumer, you hear this? There's a lot of questions on if this was a true valedictorian status. Appreciate you guys. Everybody, if you do want your deals featured on this show, patreon.com/South Harmon. $5 a month gets you in the door, has a chance to get you on the 4D Chess Dynasty Trade Show. Go check out Dynasty Mind Warp, the Warp Tool. A-Warp is live. SouthHarmonFF.com. If you want to, you think this is entertaining, even if you think we have bad Trey Lance takes or whatever our takes are, you find us funny, you find us ugly, you want to make fun of us, you want to be soliloquy, make fun of us in the comments, comment, like, subscribe to the channel, tap in. The season's getting ready to start, Mike. When this is out, the day after this is all those Sunday football games, and we'll already know what's going to happen in this Chiefs game. So excited, man. The season is upon us.
Yeah. We got so much content going on this season, right? We're doing a show on the Campus to Canton podcast feed, so go check that out. We have our own podcast feed, in case you didn't know, South Harmon Dynasty Football. You can check that out. There is one exclusive show that you will never see on YouTube that airs every Monday, or I try to every Monday. So far, so good. I'm 3 for 3. Let's see if I can make it 4 for 4. The South Harmon Spotlight, I find creators in the space, and we chop it up for an hour, find out about their journey, how they got into it, and then, of course, we got to talk a little ball. So I've had some really good guests on so far. Last night's that I did that came out Monday night was phenomenal. Next week, we'll see what I got cooked up for next week. And Adam, of course, the YouTube, the Patreon. If you're watching this is going to be on Saturday, or hearing it, it's also going to be on Saturday. Come tap in. Patrons, 10:30 a.m. Central, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We will be doing a start sit just for the patrons, where we answer some last minute questions for you guys. So it's very condensed. And then, at 11 my time Central, noon your time Eastern, Adam, The Start Sit Show makes its inaugural debut on the South Harmon Fantasy Football feed. So if you got those lineup questions, you need to know who to start. Adam and I will be joined by everybody's favorite. I mean, don't get me wrong. I see the comments on America's Game. I love Eric too. I'm happy everybody loves Eric. Eric's going to be joining us, part of the tripod. We'll get the band back together.
The band's back together, baby.
Sunday, 11 to 11:45. 11:50. Like we'll push it, but we still gotta get off and set our own damn lineups, which we didn't do a lot last year.
Well, also then after the 4:00 games, or the second set of the slate of games, right before Sunday Night Football, the Sunday recap show's back. Tap into that. There's some upgrades to a lot of these shows, little production quality. We got Eric, we got all kinds of things happening. Last thing, not gonna spoil all the details. It's not official, but it's damn near official. There'll be another piece of content that we're gonna add. Not in this channel, but you'll have the details here shortly. So, yeah, man, we're going to give you all the content you can hope for. So, keep tapping in. We appreciate everybody. We'll see you back here, same time, same place next week after week 1 for the Dynasty Trade Show. We're out of this thing. Peace.